And good morning on this beautiful, beautiful November 22nd,
Mm-hmm.
the Shanks Show with Shanka Ponsley and
Andrea Ferguson.
I almost did it again, Andrea. I almost made people believe my name is Andrea Ferguson.
Force of habit.
See, I just give you the floor
Oh,
all
my
the
goodness.
time.
Yeah.
Chivalry at its best.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
that's it.
That's it.
Yes, women from all over the world wish they had me talking about them.
I believe that.
Okay, but that is not the issue of our show
It's not the
today.
talk of the day.
No, although if you are a woman and you
Oh, my
agree,
goodness.
type in agree right now.
Hang on, y'all.
All right, all right.
It's
Okay,
a ride.
okay.
Just hang on tight to your seat.
So we are very close to Thanksgiving Day, and we know that's kind of, interestingly, a controversial topic. Some like it, some don't, just because of what happens on that day. Some perceive it as very stressful, and others, they question the historic origins.
Yep.
So, Andrea, I know you have a lot of thoughts, and I'll definitely add mine after you have exposed yours. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right.
Let's talk with whether or not Thanksgiving is overrated. And yeah, so is Thanksgiving overrated? Well, funny enough, I have evolved, and I would say if you had asked me this question 5, 10 years ago, I would have a different answer. But as you know, I have lived in several different countries. I have lived outside of the US and worked outside of the US for over a decade, several years where I didn't even come home. I think maybe the max was 2 or 3 years where I just didn't even come home and missed out on what we would call Thanksgiving celebrations with family. And I would have Thanksgiving with friends or other American expatriates and expats. And that's how a lot of my life was. So I was forced to take a different look at Thanksgiving because suddenly what used to be just a kind of routine ritual and a very yummy one at that. Let's not
Mm-hmm.
pretend like Black folks don't know how to throw down in the kitchen because we do. I have not. There's so many memories attached to Thanksgiving, and there's so many ways you can connect over it that I just can't throw it in the trash. So some of that revelation of what Thanksgiving did, which was quite frankly keep a lot of expats' minds intact and whole during very difficult times, whether it be because they were just away for so long, or maybe their situation wasn't always the easiest to deal with because of some people not getting paid on time in certain countries that I lived in. When I worked with the government in Spain, that was particularly common, where there were people in certain regions that just didn't get a check for a very long time. And after a while, you start to miss that there's a deer in the yard. That's pretty cool.
Where?
Beyond those trees.
Oh, yeah.
How pretty. It's a deer.
Well,
And we don't eat deer, so
no, we don't. We will have a vegan Thanksgiving.
yeah. So anyway, long story short, I've evolved, and so is my ideas about Thanksgiving and what it means. And then also, Shankar, you talked about GIs and how they are, everybody is so eager to take them into their homes and give
Mm-hmm.
them a hot meal during Thanksgiving. So we watched a short clip yesterday, and it was about
Where
this.
did you find it?
It was on the U.S. Marine Corps LinkedIn page.
Oh, you're a follower of
I am
that?
a follower.
Go
I was,
figure.
well, I don't know what that means, but I was very close to joining the service on several occasions in my life. I feel like I'm belaboring the point, and I know that I want to have a discussion with you about this.
All
But the
right.
point is that there, when you see these people they need something to come home to, man. And yeah, the origins are filthy, and I hate the way that we teach it in school. But I would say, if you
And that
can,
is where I would like to interject.
yes, go ahead.
Okay, so with everything we do nowadays, there is an origin and there is what it has turned into. And I think at some point, yes, it is good to be aware of the origins, but at some point you need to disconnect the
Exactly.
modern meaning of it from, what it used to be. Because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but based on movies we have seen recently, Halloween was also about burning witches at some point, right? Uh,
Amongst other things,
Amongst other
yeah.
things, right? But I'm just saying that um, you have these very ugly beginnings in the past of many, many things, and then they turn into something that they are today. And I do not believe in forgetting history. That's not what I'm saying. But I believe in looking at, okay, this is what it means today. It happens to have the same name, but it's not at all what it used to be. To give you another example, here in San Antonio, for example, people celebrate the time when
Oh yeah.
when the Mexicans were actually defeated here in San Antonio by the Americans. But the point is that all the locals here that lived here were Mexicans at that point, right? And nowadays you have Mexicans, or at least people with Hispanic background, I should say Mexican background, who live here right now. They celebrate that day. What, I forget, is it Fiesta or is it
Oh gosh, I have
it's
forgotten.
that week of celebrations, right? And
Yeah.
that's just another example where someone who grew up here and was born in recent years and who wants to celebrate during that time, and kind of it's okay for them. They do not even know that it was their ancestors who were defeated, and now they're celebrating it because it
Yeah.
has a different meaning now. Nowadays it actually has turned into something where you celebrate the American Mexican
Mhm.
culture,
Yeah,
um,
I think that's a good parallel.
tangent.
I think, well, no, it absolutely plays into the conversation because holidays are about what you make of them.
Hmm.
It's so much about mindset. Like, I just fundamentally disagree with if we go into the educational aspect of it, of course, I'm going to have a very strong opinion. But again, as somebody who just traveled for so long and someone who really looks forward to, do you know when you are away from home, you miss the scents, like the smells of food,
Hmm.
of course. You miss the fragrance of your grandmother's
The cheap
perfume or
electronics in stores.
you miss the cheap electronics in stores for the gadget man over here.
Well,
But
hey, you
I'm trying to
mentioned that
conjure up
yesterday.
these holiday feels, okay? Everybody knows what it means to be warm by the fireside and just wait for a toasty hot cocoa or a meal that you love that you anticipate that happens once a year.
Will you
Yes,
make me a hot
yes,
cocoa?
I'll make you a
Okay.
hot cocoa if it means I can continue to anyway. Y'all understand the vibe of where I'm going, okay? You all have a favorite dish, at least that is cooked once a year. And
Hmm.
those are the ones that you love the most, the ones that are so rare, you don't get them every day, but you cherish it because, and then as you get older, or maybe if you do it yourself, you know the time that it took in the kitchen, you know the labor that was attached to it, you know the rigmarole of running around and trying to get through stores and walking over people to get whatever you need. And it's just, there are so many memories attached to various holidays throughout the year, but the one holiday that matters arguably the most to Americans at least is Thanksgiving.
Yep.
People will travel the most, the farthest on that day than they will Christmas, than they will New Year's, than they will any other time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if statistics alone can speak, they would say it matters. It's
Mm-hmm.
important.
Mm-hmm.
And to rob a child of that experience or celebration by just omitting it from your household, or to lock out an already isolated expat or vet, from participating in something that is well known. I feel like we don't know what that does to people. And emotionally, you can just connect a lot more with food. So I think I have been forced to, like you said, like I call it going numb to the politics of it all, because you
Mm-hmm.
just drive yourself crazy if you think about the perils of society in general for too long. And I don't know. I think that it can be a beautiful thing. Like I really enjoy celebrating Thanksgiving with you because there's so many new foods I can introduce you to that I've had throughout my years.
Yeah. Well, and I know if the word going numb is the correct word. I think there's something more subtle here, and that has to do with kind of being able to separate living in the moment from living with all the baggage,
Yeah.
you
but
know?
but if we live in the moment. Okay, so one thing I haven't said is that I have plenty of Native friends who have met people who say, "Oh, I thought Native Americans or Indians, Indigenous, or whatever they
Mm-hmm.
say. I mean, they being the people that are clearly ignorant. I didn't know you still existed." I mean, first of all, that is just so heartbreaking that people would think you don't exist
Mm-hmm.
anymore. But there was a very clear, intentional attempt to annihilate
Mm-hmm.
entire people groups, and for the most part, it was successful.
Mm-hmm.
And then for where it wasn't, there's obviously tribes and reservations,
Mm-hmm.
um, or tribes on reservations that still have to deal with this dreadful day that celebrates the annihilation. So,
Yeah.
when you have people like that do exist, you have to understand there is a counter celebration to that
Right.
day. It is a day of mourning and grieving and loss that will never, ever, ever come back.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say, go numb, because, well, maybe that's disrespectful to the ones that are mourning. But all I'm trying to say is that there are real consequences, real people that are still very much today, not in the past, loathing this day,
Mm-hmm.
and Columbus Day as well, which is now Native American or Indigenous Peoples Day.
Well, you have just been a perfect example of representing both sides this morning, and that's
Happy to
really
hear that.
something I love about you. I just like what our friend Vladimir said recently, and he said, in a sense, Thanksgiving for him is opening up to your clients, creating
Mm.
community for them, being there for them. And he said, well, Thanksgiving, or the idea of being there for your clients and for your community, should be something you do all year round. And I 100% agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I invite everyone to join our little community at a very basic level. We send out an email every day with a helpful thought, typically around brand creation, personal brand, business brand, and you can get that email for absolutely nothing, which is for free. You just need to go to shanks.vip. That is an address which you put into your browser, shanks with an X dot VIP, SHANKX.vip, and just make us the pleasure of being part of our little community and be there for you. And if there's anything else we can do for you, reach out with a message. You find Andrea and myself on LinkedIn, and we try to really get back to you and help you if we can.
Yeah. Give us your thoughts. Is Thanksgiving overrated? We'd love to hear it.
Thanks for listening, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Bye bye.
Bye.